Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Welcome to this video where I'll be discussing what is the effect of inflation. Okay, see, in the Indian economy as of now, the inflation, that is the headline inflation as we can call it, is that is consumer price index, is on the rise. So in this context, a document that will be released, that was released recently by the Finance Ministry. What does this document say about the inflation targeting in India? What does this document say about the repo rate that the RBI is going to think about in its bi-monthly policy? So this will be the discussion for today's video. So watch till the end in order to get complete details about this document and also to understand or brush up or revise your economy concepts. Okay, so before continuing, I want you to subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy and not miss out on any updates from the Legacy IAS. Let's start. The first thing is context. Why are we even talking about it? What is the need? Why are we talking about the inflation here? If you can see, the Ministry of Finance comes out with a state of the economy report every month. The Ministry of Finance will start publishing the state of the economy, the report of the state of the economy every month. And in its report that was published for the month of November, October and the November we're talking about, in the recently released report, the Finance Ministry talked about the major threat of inflation. It said inflation is on the rise. Because inflation is on the rise, the fiscal and the monetary policies, both the government and the RBI, should be very, very vigilant when it comes to the inflation. Clear? See, why is inflation very bad? Okay, we all know that inflation is good and healthy inflation is very much required for an economy to grow. But think about it. If the inflation becomes hyperinflation, if it's a hyperinflation or galloping inflation, look what happens. The purchasing power of the currency reduces. Okay, because the purchasing power of the currency reduces, as India is a net importer, because India is a net importer, we're not like China. China is a net exporter. Chinese economy drives through the export market, but Indian economy doesn't strive because of the export market. Indian economy strives because of the domestic market, and we are the net importers. We're not the net exporters. Because we are the net importers, our import bill considerably increases. Because our import bill increases, our foreign exchange reserves start eroding down. Once our foreign exchange reserve starts eroding, then we might have to face the problem of global crisis, or we might have to face the problem of BOP crisis, that is balance of payment crisis. Okay, so this is the reason why the government and also the RBI is very much vigilant with respect to inflation. In order to control inflation, see, I've told you that inflation is actually high. Okay, in order to control this inflation, what did the RBI do? You can look at here. RBI has considerably increased the repo rate by 250 basis points. 250 basis points is around 2.5%. The repo rate has been increased 2.5% since the April 2022, which means almost from the last 1.5 years. Continuously, the RBI is coming out with its monetary policy, that is MPC is coming out with its decision where it is increasing the repo rate. Now you might ask, what is this repo rate? Okay, see, repo rate is nothing but a rate at which RBI is lending money to the bank. And remember, for all the repo transactions, collateral is very much mandatory. Correct? So this is the repo rate. If the RBI or the monetary policy is continuously increasing the repo rate, then what will happen? The cost of borrowing for a customer increases. When the cost of borrowing increases, the customer will not be willing to take loan. When he is not taking loan, there is no investment. When there is no investment, there is no employment on income. When there is no employment on income, the aggregate demand falls down. Aggregate demand falls down and the inflation drops. So this is the linkages that you will have to draw. Correct? Once this is done, the document also says, so this increase in the repo rate has not been transmitted into the banks. It's not being completely transmitted. For this to get transmitted, we need some more time. For this to get transmitted, we need time for full transmission of this monetary policy decision. And by the time it gets transmitted, let's say in the next 6 months or 8 months, we'll have more global problems that will be surrounded with. Now we have the Russia-Ukraine problem. Because of the Russia-Ukraine issue, Russia attacked Ukraine and the entire global oil prices shot up. Because the global oil prices shot up, our import bill is more. And we were paying around 83 to 85 rupees, if I'm not wrong, per liter petrol before Russia attacking Ukraine. Now we are paying 1 or 2 rupees per liter of petrol. Okay, so considering all these measures, inflation will be a double-edged sword going forward because it is not being transmitted. First point. Second point, we also have a lot of global problems. Okay, so you can think about it. Then it will further increase, which may reduce the demand in the economy. Okay, about the unpredictable geopolitical situation. This is what I was talking about. So one side you have the Russia-Ukraine, second side you have the Israel-Palestine, then you have Armenia-Azerbaijan, India-Pakistan issue is still on, Germany and UK are in economic crisis. Okay, Canada and India have a row, and US is not growing as it is required to be growing, and US is eroding itself from the global geopolitical system, and that gap is being filled by China slowly. So because of all these problems, we have a risk of higher inflation. So now we're talking a lot about inflation, and here it's time to understand what is the definition of inflation. What do we understand by inflation? See, inflation is a term coined for the general rise in the prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. That is nothing but the inflation. For example, in the year 2010, let's say 1 kg rice costed 20 rupees. In the year 2023, the 1 kg same rice, 1 kg rice is costing, let's say, 30 rupees. So this rise, this general rise in the prices of goods and services over a period of time of 10 rupees is called inflation. Okay, and we have different types of inflation also. We have something called as skewflation, we have walking inflation, we have trotting inflation, we have galloping inflation, we have hyperinflation, we have demand pull inflation, we have cost push inflation. There are a lot of different types of inflation required, and I want you to comment in the comment box what is the meaning of stagflation in an economy. Okay, a very important key term that you will keep hearing in the current affairs. One thing is called as stagflation. So tell me, what is this stagflation? Okay, what is the meaning of stagflation? So this is about the inflation. Now let's see, what is this headline inflation? In India, we come up with two important numbers for the inflation. One is called as CPI, that is Consumer Price Index. Second is called as WPI, called as Wholesale Price Index. So in India, we consider CPI as the headline inflation. And what is the CPI? CPI is the cost that a consumer pays to buy the goods. What is wholesale price index? The cost incurred for a wholesaler when he is buying it from the distributor or the supplier is called as wholesale price index. So if the prices are noted down at the wholesale level and an index is formed, it is called as wholesale price index, WPI. If the cost incurred for the consumer is all noted down and an index is formed, we call it as consumer price index. Okay, so this is called as headline inflation. Why is it called headline inflation? Because India considers this inflation to be very, very important, and this is the inflation that we take into consideration for all our policy decisions. Okay, so this is headline inflation. Trade-off between inflation and inflation targeting and boosting growth. See, what is this trade-off between targeting inflation and the boosting growth? What are we even talking about? These two are considered to be dilemmas for the RBI. These two are considered to be dilemmas for the RBI. Okay, why does it happen like that? Think about this. RBI is an institution which is tasked with controlling inflation. If RBI wants to control inflation, what will the RBI do? RBI will increase the repo rate. If RBI increases the repo rate, what will happen to the total investment in the economy? The investment will come down. Reduction in the investment. When there is reduction in the investment, there is reduction in the employment. When there is reduction in the employment, there is reduction in the income. This results in reduction in aggregate demand. Okay, when there is reduction in the aggregate demand, there is reduction in the supply. When the supply reduces, in the sense production reduces, the country's GDP growth takes a hit. Clear? What was RBI trying to do? Control inflation by increasing the repo. But what happened eventually? Inflation came under control, but this got a hit. That is, GDP growth got a hit. GDP growth got a very bad hit. So this is why it is called as a trade-off. It's a dilemma whether RBI should control inflation in compromising growth, or RBI should compromise on inflation in order to boost growth. Clear? So this is what one significant trade-off that is required to remember, and you can expect a mains question on this also. So by this, we've come to the end of the video. If you have liked the video, hit the like button and also subscribe to Legacy Academy YouTube channel for more such interesting content. Have a nice day. Thank you.